Greetings, Tony Mobley here, and welcome to a new conversation with Tony Mobley. We also want to welcome Z98.1FM.com, our audience in Cincinnati, Ohio. You can also be heard through the TuneIn app as well as the internet radio. On Conversations with Tony Mobley, I am having a conversation with my 6 siblings. That's right, my 6 siblings. Who knew? Derek, Donald, Carl, Ronald, Rose, and Ruth, who we call Van. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. I want to do a special thanks to my brother Ron for sharing his daughter, Siobhan, with us a year ago today. We had a great conversation about equality, equity, diversity, and belonging. If you have an opportunity, please go back and watch that past episode. We lost our parents several years ago. Our mother's birthday is September 1st. Our father passed on September 1st. We are here to celebrate the journey our parents, Richard and Delma Mobley, have put us on. This is episode 62 of Conversations with Tony Mobley. We want to thank everyone for being a part of this journey. Again, we want to mention we are on the radio at Z98.1FM.com, our audience in Cincinnati, Ohio, as well as can be heard on TuneIn Radio app and the internet radio. Real conversations with real people. Why are we here? We're here because life has provided me the opportunity of having real conversations with real people. And this real conversation started in office hours. And I'll tell you a little bit about office hours later. But me sharing office hours with my siblings on our Zoom meetings every Sunday at the beginning of the pandemic, as we did our weekly check-in, is the reason that we are having Conversation with Tony Mobley. That reason being that they got tired of me talking about office hours and all of the amazing things that we were doing in office hours. And they said to me, you need to share that with someone else. And so that is part of the reason that we have Conversations with Tony Mobley. I want to first thank my guest from last week, Miss Laura Thompson, for our conversation. And that was episode 61. This is episode 62. And we want to thank the team behind Conversations with Tony Mobley for all of their hard work. And here I go again, but I need your help. I want you to go to conversationwithTonyMobley.com, where you can register for our website. There you will be able to log in and participate in the Mukana chat. What is the Mukana chat? The Mukana chat is a place where you can add your questions. You can get those questions voted up and down, and we will have an opportunity to select the best questions based on the voting. So please ask your questions in the Mukana chat. And if you don't have an opportunity to ask your questions in the Mukana chat, you can ask the questions in the YouTube chat. Please consider asking your questions early so that we can make sure that we get to answer those questions. If you like this and past conversations, we ask that you like and subscribe. Set that bell to all notifications so that you can be reminded of upcoming conversations. And so we are going to go to my siblings. And before before I ask the very first question, I'm just going to ask them to start with the youngest and introduce themselves and say who they are and anything else that they want to share as an opening statement. So we're going to start with my brother, Derek.
Okay. Who are you? Just a regular person, the youngest of this interesting and zany, oftentimes funny family. There's a big age difference between me and my next closest sibling. So it's like even though we're all part of the same family, it was a different world for me growing up with these folks. More of them were more like my guardians than siblings in a lot of respects. Should I continue with the questions?
No, I just want you to introduce yourself.
Okay. All right. 48 years old, married, and live in the southeastern U.S.
All right. Next. Don.
Sorry, the mute button keeps jumping out at me. Donald Mobley. I'm number 6 in this group. So, I'm at movie number 4. So I'm number 6. Same thing, just not really much to say about me. Married, living in southeast of America. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Carl.
I'm Carl. I guess I'll be number 5. I actually live in the city of South Fulton, aka Atlanta, Georgia. Married for 36 years to Angela. In case we have conversation, my wife's name is Angela, so I'm gonna keep saying my wife. I just say Angela. We have one daughter, our daughter named Jasmine, and she has 2 sons, Ethan and Evan. They also live in Atlanta.
Thank you.
I guess
Ron?
I'm next, but are the numbers going down or going up? We're going down, right?
Going
so I'm
down.
number 4. Okay, I'm 4. Yes. So I'm Ron, number 4. Actually, I guess that makes me the middle child, which probably explains why I'm probably
That makes you Jan.
Considered by others a little different in this family. But who am I? I'm a father. I am a significant other to my significant other, who will become legally my wife soon. Her name is Anna. And I would say I am a generally happy individual who loves life, and I feel very grateful and fortunate to be a part of this wonderful family.
Okay.
We are wonderful.
You're lucky to have it.
I am Rose. I am number 3. And I'm married 38 years
Ooh.
to my husband, Clarence. I have 2 children, Alicia and Clarence. Oh my goodness, he's the 3rd. Here we call him the 4th. Clarence the 3rd. And I have 5 grandchildren from my 2 children, Clarence the 3rd and Alicia.
Okay, Van.
Well, I'm not going to say what number I am because it sounds crazy to say. So I'm going to say I'm the second. I'm the second of this group. Oldest sister. Sometimes seems like the second mother. Living in Charlotte, North Carolina. I can say that. And, happy to be here. This is going to be fun.
All right.
What's scary?
And I am Tony Mobley, and I am the oldest of this bunch, and I have 2 sons and a wife who supports me in conversation with Tony Mobley. And now we're going to get to the question. So the question that you guys already started to answer was, who you are. Who you are. If you want to, and you feel like you have already answered the question, let me see your hands. If you think you've already answered that question, all right. So I don't see any hands raised. Oh,
I knew
Rose says
Rose was
she,
gonna raise hers.
okay. And Ronnie says he's raised. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to bypass that question and we're going to go to the next question. So let's talk about early childhood in the city of Newark. And Derek, if you don't want to respond to this one, you don't have to, because you did spend some of your childhood in Newark. So
Most of it.
okay. So we're gonna start with Van on this one.
Goodness.
So let's talk about your early childhood in Newark.
Oh, let's see. I remember living on Chadwick Avenue. I remember living on South 14th Street. I attended Arts High School, which was a lot of fun. I don't know. I mean, early childhood, I don't know what else to say except that lots of church. We, hang around the siblings. So it was never a dull moment. But it was overall pretty good.
And I will add that she didn't mention this, but I'll mention this. She in elementary school, she advanced 2 grades. So that I think that was something important that she left out. And my little sister. So Rose?
Oh, growing up in Newark. Well, I remember a lot. I mean, we there were some scary times and there were some good times. I remember good times being that, we had our little friends in the neighborhood. I know you guys know as I got older, I hung around with Pat. We won't say last names. I don't know the sensitivity of things. But we had our little friends and we had a little number of houses. We could go so many houses this way and so many houses that way, unless we had to go to the grocery store. And that was the only traumatizing part, when we had to go to the grocery store. Because going to the grocery store, it wasn't so much getting there, it was coming back and having change in your pocket was the scary part. Because 9 times out of 10, they knew you had money. And so, it was, I must have been held up at least 3 times going to the grocery store. So a couple times, we always went with more than one person, but it was like we were all frozen in our tracks. I remember one time, I think Ronnie ran back to let Dad know we were being accosted down the street. So that was that was the most traumatizing part. I never really wanted to go to the grocery store. Never wanted to go to the grocery store. But other than that, school was okay. When we moved to 14th Street, going to Madison Avenue, that was a good school. And middle school was a challenge. 7th Avenue was, that was a rough customer. I was going to be an 8th grade dropout when I got to 7th Avenue. I don't know how many of you knew that. I told Mom I couldn't do another. 1 year was enough. I couldn't do another year there. So I was just going to drop out of school. But so she put me somewhere else. So put me in St. Mary's, and which was a welcomed relief. Yes, welcomed relief to go to St. Mary's. Now, of course, there were some adventures at St. Mary's going to piano school. Is this too much?
No,
Or you want me to keep
ahead.
going? Because I can tell you stories.
You're doing better than me, so keep going, keep going.
Early childhood. Okay, so and I clearly remember the time when Ronnie and I
Don't say it.
don't say
I'm just kidding. Go for it.
we were going to music school because, you know, as you guys know, Mom had us, Van, Ronnie, and I taking piano lessons for the longest. And we were going down High Street to go to the music studio that was at the end of High Street in Clinton, I can think that was, or was that Clinton? I think it was. But and we were mugged trying to get to music school because my little brother, he liked to talk. And so we passed this liquor store on the way to the music studio. And there were these girls, well, I saw them when we were coming up, and I was like, oh, some tough girls, because down the street from the school was an apartment complex that was a little rough. And so I saw some of their residents hanging out at the store on the sidewalk we were walking past. We walked past them, no problem. They never said anything to us. We walked past them. And then someone said, hey, where you going? And I look behind me, and they're all lined up behind my brother and I. And so I just told Ryan, don't say anything, just keep walking. But he said, we're going to music school. And so then one said, doesn't it cost money to go to music school? And I'm like, don't say anything. And he said, it costs money to go to music school. So then they tried to, you know, they were putting their hands in my pockets, trying to get whatever money they thought. Back then, there wasn't anything they could do with a check, but they thought I had actual cash. And I had to take my little brother, go into a laundromat where none of the adults in the laundromat was helping us. I told Ronnie to go to the back of the laundromat. I went into a phone booth, called our parents, and said, look, we can't make it. We can't make it down the street to music studio. We're being attacked. And we got picked up that day. So you know, outside of that, it really wasn't a bad life. High school was better. Spent a lot of time in New York as a high schooler. And so that was fun. And that was it. That's the early experience, early childhood. I don't know. That was life. That was life for me in Newark.
Okay. Ron?
Yeah. So I remember that event that my sister talked about. I will never forget it. I thought it was a safe space. I thought they were asking reasonable questions, and I was just trying to engage and be neighborly, as you would expect to be. But little did I know we were being set up. So Rose obviously much more savvy than me, because I just believed in the goodness of people, and it didn't work out so well. But I remember several situations, and thank God for Rose, where I was always being the one that's going to get beat up, and she always had to be the one coming in and stop whoever was going to beat me up. And so I that happened a few times. What I like most about growing up, I think, is I think about Dad, and I think about how he was viewed in the neighborhood,
Yes.
almost like the mayor, right?
Mhm.
So you know, he always had a nickname for everybody. And then he ran the president. He's a big wheel, big money, little money, you know, big guy, small man, whatever, right? Top dog, whatever. So so I remember those. And I remember specifically when I used to like when he would join the kids and we would do those races on the gun, and his dad would actually run and beat most of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I remember. But most of the time was spent, I felt, being traumatized. And unlike Rose, maybe for me, every day going to school, getting on that city bus, to me was traumatic. So
Oh, no, I didn't have that experience.
Okay.
that's all I got.
All right. Carl.
Life in Newark. Well, my recollection is early. The earliest I have is 14th Street. I don't remember Chadwick or anything before that. I just remember 14th Street. And I also with Dad, makes a lot of memories with Dad, where provider and protector. Many times I ran home from Madison Avenue. Thank God, I guess he's at home most of the time. And he's always said you can run home, but you can't run from home. So he's always a protector at the house.
Yeah.
So that house always one good thing. There's a little guy named Jeffrey, like every single day. Had to run from this guy named Jeffrey from school. He always wanted to fight. I have no idea why. Because even in gym class, he always wanted to line up on the other side when we did the relay race in school. You know, you run, tag your partner on the other end. He always lined up next to me to prove that he was faster than me. And then after school, he had him and a guy named Reggie always wanted to fight. Fight the Rome's every single day. But as far as the neighborhood, I really have a whole lot of issues in the neighborhood. I mean, I miss hide and seek. I miss tag. I miss running up and down the street. Ryan said racing up and down the street. Miss all that. But no traumatizing experiences in there, I don't think. I can think of. So I pretty good. I guess by the time I come along, some of the stuff has calmed down, I guess. Now they have all that issues, but.
And I want to piggyback on Carl with Daddy being a type of protector. He was noted on the street, and if he said something to you, then most times you were okay. I remember him having to come to my school because, like Carl, I had this one particular kid who kept just picking on me, and so Dad came to the school, and he walked into the classroom, and he spoke to the classroom. And I tell you, I never had a minute, never, ever again did I have a problem at Madison Avenue. Not a single person, not a single person. So we felt safe. He was definitely someone who I felt, could protect us. Some people don't have that. I had a very good friend who was harassed in school all the time, and her father never came to assist. And but we had Dad, and he took care of it. If you told him, he would take care of it.
Okay. All right. Donald?
Well, I don't really have that many memories of Newark as being bad. I think after the first 5 of you guys left, we became middle class, so we didn't have the same issues.
Speak for yourself on that one.
Yeah, I was growing up, but I mean, Newark. I haven't been back probably. I don't even know last time I was there. Maybe 20 years. It was to me, it was a cool city. I enjoyed growing up there. Like I said, I felt safe where we lived. Like Carl said, playing in the street, playing street football, things like that. And car coming, stand to the side, let the car go by, go back to playing football. I mean, that's what we had. That's what we did. Is there crime, murder, death, kill? Sure. We're very fortunate we didn't experience any of those. But I had to go to Atlanta to get that. But other than that, I enjoyed growing up in Newark. Schools were good. I mean, went to private school for a little while there. Well, most of my elementary school years in private school. Public school for high school, Newark Tech. Go Terriers. And but other than that, I enjoy Newark. I mean, will I ever go back? Don't know. But I would like to visit at least once more time before, just get a chance to see what it looks like now.
Okay, Derek.
Well, they definitely had a different experience than me. It was a lot of good times for me. When I came along, I call it. I tell people all the time. I felt like I was. I never been to prison, but Newark felt like as close as you can get to prison as you possibly can without actually being in prison. It felt like cell block D for me every day. And because it was such a huge age gap between me and my next older sibling, and with me also being the last, there was no protection for me in school. So it was like when I remember, I think I was in first grade, I think Don was like in eighth grade. So no one messed with me then because, hey, his brother, he eighth grade, he come beat you down real quick. And because Don was big and tall even then. So no problems, elementary school. I mean, kindergarten, first grade, no problems. But after Don graduated and moved on to high school, it was this little old Derek, and it was tough because I'm not gonna say that I was like bullied per se. I wasn't like bullied, and I think the main reason I wasn't was because of the fact that someone pushed me, it was like they got pushed back. It was immediate response, and And you learn early that's the only way to gain respect in the hood. It's if people feel like they can push you over and steal your lunch money, then basically you're going to deal with that all year. So, I wasn't going to let that happen. And there were some tough times, no question. I remember, and I did both private and public school. I don't know how many of y'all remember that, but I did St. Mary's for a while. I did Madison Avenue. And Madison Avenue, by the time I went there, it was no longer a nice school like Rose remembered. It was fights every day. And it's like whenever you walk down the street, you see a throng of people all kind of stand on the sidewalk. Oh, you already know what's going down. It's a fight. And then you see the throng kind of go across the street, go in the middle of the street, go across the other side, and you up, you know what's going on. And it was tough. And then actually the most traumatic experience for me in Newark was probably getting mugged for my shell toe Adidas back when shell toe was big. I got jumped by 3 guys leaving school. The main guy who grabbed me from behind was like a super senior. He was, I guess, got held back like 3 or 4 grades. Real bitter kind of guy. So,
He was an adult.
But as Rose said, Dad was a protector, So here it is. I'm walking home from school in my socks, by the way, and of course, Dad is like, "Hey, like, what happened?" And I explain, "Hey, I'm walking out of school. Next thing I know, somebody grabbed one leg, somebody grabbed the other leg. The third guy got me a chokehold, and I'm passing out." And Dad, he's gonna get to the bottom of it. And he came to school. He asked around like a detective, and who know this guy. And one of the girls admitted that she knew who the guy was, and she said, yeah, he like got held back 3 times. He was a dropout. This is what his name was. And my father actually tracked down his mother and said, hey, when's payday? You need to repay me for my son's sneakers that your son stole. And lo and behold, on payday, she was so terrified, she came right around that corner and she gave Dad every dollar that that he asked for in reference to those sneakers. So just like Rose said, Dad was a protector. People will talk about Eastside High School and the principal there. He was the Batman. No, Dad was the original Batman, because I remember how when Carl got in trouble, he got jumped one time when we were all walking home from school, and Dad got his old trusty Louisville Slugger, went down the street, took care of it. So to me, Dad was the original Batman. And our parents is what got me through for sure. And Mom decided to stay for a little while longer. Went to a junior high there, university, which was supposed to be for the gifted kids. Allegedly, you had to be tested to get in, and all they were just more intelligent thugs. So it wasn't like it was any reprieve, even going to the gifted school. They were just smart criminals, and pretty much every couple of weeks it was a fight. Usually it was there. I didn't have friends. It was a different school district. No one knew me, and they knew I wasn't from that district. So they honestly made it tough. I guess you can call it bullying. It was just more of attacking more so than anything else. So I was often find myself defending myself pretty much once every couple of weeks. Gym class didn't matter. Jumping in gym class. Out the playground, jumping the playground. They didn't care. They'll jump in cafeteria. That was like it might as well have been a boxing ring for the school. So that was my experience, kind of growing up in Newark. And it was a lot better when Mom finally got fed up and was like, okay, we're going to just sell the house and move to Florida. That was when things I actually could see light in the tunnel and actually start to eventually enjoy school.
Okay, thank you all so much for your comments. The next question is, please share your experiences with your first job. And we're going to start with Derek.
My first job, I was 15. My sister-in-law, actually, Angela, actually helped me get that job. That's Carl's wife, lovely Angela. And I don't even know how it came about. I just knew that I had a desire. I wanted to work, make my own money. And Angela was real supportive in that effort. So she drove me to the local Winn-Dixie, and this is in Orlando, Florida. And went to Winn-Dixie, had my first interview, and ended up getting a job as a bagger. There's only certain things you could do at age 15 at the time. So I was a bagger at Winn-Dixie, and even when the summer was over, I still worked there after school. And well, actually, the high school I'm going to, several of the high schoolers there worked there as well. So it made for some great fun times, and actually worked with a lot of people that I went to school with. So and actually played basketball with or played baseball with in high school. So that was actually a great time. Met my first real girlfriend there. So yeah, that was my first job.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little break and interruption. Derek, I want you to share at what age did you graduate from high school?
I graduated at 17. I graduated a year early because I was going to private school in Orlando. Mom and dad was really tired of paying tuition. And we went to this college fair, and Morehouse was actually there. They had some representatives there, some recruiters there. So of course, Morehouse is Tony's alma mater and so forth. And so that's the only reason why I kind of even had any interest was because my older brother went there, and out of respect, I said, well, let me go ahead and take a look. And of course, dad kind of pushed me over there in that direction as well. And they actually had what they call an early entry program, where in essence, if you get certain standardized test scores and you're doing well in school, that they actually can be accepted early. And I left my high school after my junior year and started my senior year as a freshman at Morehouse College. So it was interesting. They gave us a little history about the program, and it was something that also Harvard University also had as part of their program curriculum, at least back in those years. And it dates back as far as Martin Luther King Jr., because he actually also started Morehouse on an early entry program, which of course I found that to be fascinating. And he actually started at 16. He started his junior year of high school as a freshman at Morehouse. So it was an interesting program. Saved my parents one last year of high school that at my high school, literally seniors didn't do anything anyway. So it was just a waste of money. And it gave me a great head start on, furthering my education.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're gonna shake things up a little bit. We're gonna go to Van now.
What am I answering? The first job?
First job.
My first job was working at, whoever can remember, Bamberger's, which is now Macy's, for Christmas. And as a matter of fact, the first year I worked was the first time they finally broke the rules of opening on Sunday. So it was a lot of fun. But you had to, in order to get the job, you had to take a math test. And of course, you guys know how well I did in basic math. So it took no time at all. So I was hired on the spot. But it was a lot of fun. But that first Sunday that the department stores were open, record sales. They had never seen anything like it.
All right. We're going to go to Ronnie.
My very first job was a switchboard operator in a monastery with a bunch of Benedictine monks, also known as Saint Benedict's. And probably people on the call like, well, what's a switchboard operator? I don't know if you've seen those old time movies where you pull out a plug, put in another plug, connect calls and that kind of stuff in this big old box. Well, that was us. And that was my first job at 14.
Okay. Carl.
Oh. Rose might need help me with this one. Rose actually got my very first job.
I don't even remember.
Coppers in, was it that North Newark, I think?
That was your first job? Okay,
that was my very first job. Yep. As a matter of fact, I was 2 weeks from graduating from high school. Hadn't graduated high school yet. Working at Coppers. It was a fun job, actually. All I did was label the lumber. And they paid me to label the lumber. And that was it. Till they let me go.
Guess you didn't do that well, huh?
No, they actually folded, which Rose didn't tell me. They were folding. Rose didn't tell me they're folding, but they let me go.
Rose was surprised to her too.
So I ran to Rose and said, Rose, you was going to fire me. Why didn't you let me know? Rose, I couldn't tell you. So I was okay.
Okay.
I went on home.
All
As
right,
well,
Donald.
go ahead.
My first job, because I went to a tech school, senior year, we had the opportunity if we could get a job for the afternoon. So we go do our liberal arts in the morning, and you go to your job at lunch, and do that. So I had a drafting job, but that was my major at tech. So I worked in Linden, New Jersey, at I'm gonna just say lift company. What they do is they designed lifts for like warehouses and things, almost like an elevator, but more industrial to lift things up from one floor to the next. I did that through senior year until I left to go to college. It was my first experience with racism in Jersey for me, because the owner of the company was really bad. He would say inappropriate things all the time, all day long. But I was getting paid $10 an hour at 17 years old back in 1984. So I kept my head down and I drew those lines like they told me to. So that was my first experience and my first job.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you all for your comments. I did get everybody right.
Rose.
You didn't get Rose?
I didn't get you, Rose. Okay, Rose. I'm sorry.
My first job was at a fast food place. I can't even remember the name of it. It was some chicken place that one of my good friends, she used to work there every summer, and she's like, Rose, I can get you in. And she got me in, and it lasted all of 6 hours because it was a fast food restaurant. I was in the back in the kitchen, and they had crazy rules that as a young person, I didn't think made sense. Like when someone said, I need a 2-piece, I was supposed to repeat something or whatever. I would just say, okay, thank you, and give them the 2 pieces, but I wasn't saying it correctly. They needed to have it said a certain way. And it was summertime. It was hot as Hades in there. And I wanted to drink a water. And the guy said, when I told the person, I said, I need a glass of water. They said, I had to ask management. I had to wait for management to come through to ask for a cup to get water in a kitchen that's at 110 degrees. I didn't wait for a manager to come tell me I could have a cup to get water before I passed out. So that was strike number 2 in that 6 hours. Strike number 3 came when I was, as you guys know, I was a church musician. And I said, look here, I can't work on Saturdays and Sundays because Saturday's choir rehearsal, Sunday's church. And he said, clock out. That was my first job.
All right. The next question is, please discuss your current work, not necessarily where you work. What do you do? And we're going to start with Donald.
Oh, me? I do. I'm currently in the mortgage industry. I do mortgages for residential properties. So that is what I do, help people get into homes. We specialize in helping the people that other people won't help. So that's what we kind of do.
And the name of your company?
Approvalone.com. So
Thank you, sir.
approvals in the name. That's how we do things.
All right. Derek.
Sorry, had to find my mute button. I am currently in the insurance industry. That's my daytime, Clark Kent job. And in essence, I work in catastrophe claims. So I'm a controller, meaning that in essence, I am to manage funneling work to claims adjusters who process and complete estimates and cut checks out to insured who had experienced a significant loss during catastrophes such as hurricanes, tornadoes, major events of that nature. But my part-time, my cake job, nighttime, I basically working on starting my own business. Actually, I'm in two businesses at the moment. D2M Investments is one that I share with my wife, and FMC is one I share with a close friend of mine who's a former coworker. I used to work at Hewlett Packard, and in essence, two different routes that we're going down. With one company, is primarily just investing in real estate, investing in whatever makes sense to invest in. Currently, right now, trying to become a real estate developer, hopefully somewhere down the road. I'm waiting for a builder to work for me on building a duplex down in South Georgia. And we currently have a couple of rentals under that company's name. And just today, I signed off on the agreement to be a franchisee for a janitorial company called Building Stars. So in essence, soon we're going to be getting that off the ground, and hopefully that'll be another area of income for my family. My goal is to stop working for other people and start working for myself, and also leave a legacy for my daughter, because the way that the current market is going, the economy is going, I just have very little confidence that my daughter will just have any sort of happiness working for someone else. So I'm hoping to first inspire her to start her own business, and if not, at worst, she can maybe work for me one day and learn how to run a business, and hopefully have one of her own.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Can you quickly share your love project, your radio station?
Yeah, so one of the companies, FMC, we're trying to be more of a digital platform oriented type company on that end. And one of the things that I started was my first online radio company. It's called WFMC, the Cats, spelled CATZ, as in zebra. The Cats were inspired by two things. One, my wife loves cats. She has two of them. And second, we had created a NFT that's a cat. And actually, the NFT is our logo for the radio station. And it was interesting getting into it and trying to learn how to get it going. I identified a platform for the infrastructure that actually makes it pretty easy to do. Identified a source, licensed source to get songs. And then I had identified how to more or less get the station out there. So I started reaching out to the various radio station platforms that are out there. So and currently we're on three. We're on onlineradio.com, onlineradiobox.com is one, Streema, STREEMA.com. And also we're on mytuner.com as well at the moment. And hopefully some of you guys will listen sometimes, and hopefully in the future we can add something like this to the radio program so that I can have some variety on the station.
Okay, thank you. Van.
I am a customer service agent for a major airline carrier, a job I have been doing for my 5-year plan for it, but it ended up being now currently 35 years. And it's a job I truly love. And so that's what I get to do. I like meeting people, talking to people, setting them on their way, and most importantly, going around the world as much as I can.
Okay, Carl.
Okay, well, right now I work for a company based out of Alaska named Shenega, and we are contracted by what is now world known, the Center for Disease and Control, CDC, in Atlanta. I am a security officer there, and basically that's what I do, security.
Okay, thank you, sir. Rose.
I currently work for a joint venture. That's two companies that come together to do a gig, and I'm in their finance department. They're in the process of rebuilding schools from Hurricane Katrina.
Okay. Ron.
I work for an insurance company. My specific role is the underwriting organization that focuses on their what they call work site type voluntary benefits. So like those accident benefits that you sometimes receive from your employer, critical illness insurance, those types of products that you can get payroll deducted. That's what I do.
Okay. I think I got everybody. All right. So the next question is, can you share a past success story and a recent one? And we're going to start with Van.
Oh, I guess my recent success story is getting over my leg injury, but my past success story, I think my favorite is taking up a CNA course. It was a crash course. It was supposed to be a 6-month course, and they condensed it down to 6 weeks. And I really wanted to do that mainly to help take care of my mom. So that was my favorite thing I think I've done.
Okay. All right. Derek.
Kind of similar to Van, I think past success was academic related. I was working at Hewlett Packard at the time and dealing with enterprise servers. And I thought, in order for me to kind of further my career, I would try to get certified in servers. So I decided to study for the Server Plus exam, which a lot of people say was extremely difficult to do. And I literally would do this in between calls at work. And somehow between the calls at work and my little studying there, I was able to actually successfully pass it the very first time that I took it, which was amazing for me. I was surprised I passed. So as far as recent success, I think I just have to go with like I mentioned earlier, just signing this franchise opportunity to start a janitorial service. I think this is the start of the rest of my life, I think, as far as my economic health.
Okay. Thank you. Carl.
That's kind of a tough question. I'm really not sure. I didn't think about that one, but the past success story, I think I would have to, bring Angela into this because I don't know, some of you probably didn't know, some people I didn't know how we struggled when we first got married. I mean, there were times when we had rice every single night to eat, either rice and corn, rice and peas, rice and pork and beans. There's always something with rice to sustain until we can do better. But what got us over was Angela's father. When he allowed us to move into his home, he has a 2-story house, and he should rent his upstairs room house, and he let us live there. And a lot of times we didn't have to pay rent; he would let us bypass on the rent. So that helped us to achieve or get across our issues with finances. So that really puts us on the right path to where we are today. Recent success, only thing I can think about that is my job, worked for Brinks Incorporated, where I worked there for 20 solid years. I told Angie story not too long ago. I worked there for 20 years and never lost not one penny. And I could think of people losing a lot of money. One guy lost an eye, one guy lost use of his arm, but I haven't lost anything. No, I'm physically fine, and monetarily I never lost anything either. So that's my most recent success.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
you. Rose.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all in the definition of success. I would say successfully raising my 2 children, and having my 5 little grandbabies. That's my joy. So that's where my success lies.
Okay. Ronnie.
Yeah, the roads made it kind of tough for me because I was vacillating between which ones. There are two of them really. So I think of my children and how most their growing up years, I was a single parent trying to make it happen, and always dreading that somehow these kids was gonna be led astray and become, on the streets. And that I could sit here now and be very proud of both of them in terms of how they have come out and the success they have had in life. So I'll take credit for some of that. But I think for me, really just me individually, I think about college and graduating from the school that I graduated from. And I just remember going to this school because, growing up in Newark, mostly Black, and then going to this all white school in the middle of nowhere, Maine. And you get there and, I graduated in the top, 4 or 5 in my class. So I'm pretty smart. And I get there and kind of find out, no, not so smart. He's getting a whole lot smarter. And they, they went to much better schools. So trying to go from that freshman year and crying every night, thinking that it's not going to work out, I'm not going to survive this, and wanting to go home, to actually graduating and succeeding in that way. So I would call that a happy success story for me. More recently, I don't know. I would say successfully transitioning to Chattanooga, Tennessee, because that was a pretty stressful event from being up in Worcester, Massachusetts for the last 40 years, I guess. And, landing in a space and being extremely happy being here. We've had such a good experience so far. So I would consider that my most recent success.
Do you want to, since you were the only one of my brothers who had not attended Morehouse, do you mind mentioning the school you went to?
I know I went to Bowdoin College, which is in Brunswick, Maine.
Oh,
Southern
okay.
Canada.
Okay. Who Donald. How could I forget you? Go ahead, Donald.
Past success, I guess maybe navigating, getting out of Newark and getting out of Atlanta without getting shot was probably my best success story. Staying ahead of the curve. As far as recent success, just I don't know, living my best life, I guess. Me and Monica are enjoying ourselves tremendously down here, and there's nothing I would rather be doing than hanging out here and doing what we do.
Okay. All right. I want to thank all of you so much. Ron, just the community knows about Javon based on our great conversation a year ago. You might want to share with us what your son does.
Oh, Matthew. He's a professional basketball player. He plays overseas in Europe. In fact, he just left yesterday, 2 days ago, for Germany. And I was chatting with him a little bit today, and he's super excited about the team he's with. He said he thinks this is by far the best team he will have had the opportunity to play for, and first class in terms of resources and facilities and support for him. So he's super happy. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that it all works out well for him, and that he has a great season.
Yeah, guys, the time has gone by so fast. We're not going to be able to get to all of the questions, but I do want to try to get through a couple of them. And so let's make our answers kind of brief. So how has the world changed since COVID-19? And we'll just go in birth order. We're going to start with Van.
Well, I don't know how to answer that question except the fact that in working in the industry that I work in, it was just interesting because, you know, you had to wear masks, didn't wear masks, you know, it was just a lot going on. But overall, I think we as a group have come out, I think, closer. And that part I'm happy about.
Okay. Rose?
Just to piggyback with that, since you said you're going in birth order and you started with Van, that would make me next. The fact that we became more cohesive as a family, as siblings, with our weekly calls since the COVID began, and we continue it today, even though COVID is not so much, but it's important that we still connect on this level, and I appreciate that we still continue to do it. And the fact that we did not lose any of the siblings during COVID.
Okay. Ron?
Yeah, I got to piggyback off of Rose said, exactly the same. The fact that we have this opportunity, I think the fact that you've started this show, I think is as a result of COVID. And so as much as horrible things are associated with COVID, I appreciate the
We did have a
togetherness and the
positive,
closeness.
Carl?
And just going on down the line and ditto what everybody just said, pretty much. And as far as the world changing, if you want to go outside of the family, the world has become cognizant of life, because I think everybody I know lost at least somebody or someone they know, or know of someone that was lost to COVID. So I think people are trying to, and especially when the lockdown was rescinded and everybody got out, people got out because they people so locked down, starting to go stir crazy. So the world has become, I think, you know, they notice life now, I think, in my opinion.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Donald?
Well, being in the industry, financial industry, I mean, I've noticed COVID has changed our, you know, trajectory as far as, you know, income producing country and inflation and things like that. So, and like Carl said, you know, I think people have known, you know, how COVID has touched so many people. You know, you're cognizant about when you go to the store, like I can't even go into the grocery store. Someone coughs, first thing you do is turn around and see who was it, because you want to know, make sure you don't go that direction. So everybody's being a lot more cautious as to, you know, what they're doing, eating out, going to the store, who's next to you, who was there before you, wiping things down, trying to stay safe for the most part. So, you know, so the world's changed quite a bit. I still think it's going to change a little more, but we'll see how it goes. But COVID's been it's been a game changer for us.
Okay. Thank you, Derek.
When I look at that question, I'm just going to just maybe kind of look at it from a micro perspective. And as far as my world, it has allowed me to get the opportunity to work from home, which was something that I kind of wanted to do for a number of years, since my last work from home position back in 2014 to 2016. And I've been home ever since. And fortunately, my job went from a temporary work from home to a permanent. So, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the that opportunity and to not have to fight traffic and things of that nature. And not to sound negative, but to me, the world has become a slightly more scary. Being an asthmatic, COVID has always been a huge fear of mine. So for me, it makes you, like Donald said, you're a little more cognizant of who's sick, who's around you. Yeah, my head's kind of on a swivel a little more than it used to be. But you know, I mean, it's just kind of where we are. So we just take it day by day.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. The final question, and real brief, guys. What's next for you?
I'm semi-retired, so go back to work for a couple more years and then be done.
Okay. Rose?
Nothing really exciting on the horizon for me. Just, you know, waiting for the new system that Jehovah's going to bring.
All right. Ron?
Granddaddy. That's what I'm looking forward to. Few days, I'm going to be a granddaddy.
All right. Carl?
As we all know, retirement is on the horizon.
Donald?
Same thing, retirement. Started early.
All right. Derek?
Self-employment. That's my next move.
All right. All right. First, let me say we have plenty more questions. I just want to say thank you all so much for being with me tonight. I hope that the audience has gleaned something from this conversation. I want to end this conversation by saying I'm so grateful and thankful for you as siblings. And I want to say to our audience, there are good things that come out of the city of Newark. Don't be discouraged by everything that you've heard us say tonight. There are some good things that come out of the city. It is in a sort of reformation, or I keep an eye on the goings on of Newark even today, and so there are some exciting things that are happening there. So be encouraged. And I want to say again to my siblings, thank you all so much for being with me tonight. Special thanks to Kimberly Mobley, Ron Mobley, Global Family and Friends, Alex Lindsay, Office Hour members, DVE Store, Limley Entertainment, Bite High, Video 360, ApprovedForLoan.com, Cloud Bedrock LLC, Ken Jordan, Jonas Dattel, Aaron Husledge, Cherrick Cheetah, David Brady, Mark Sleefolk, Richard Lavery, Chris Fenwick, Manilo Lozano, Jeffrey Powers, Bo Cordell, Mickey McAchore, Hasmut Geyser, Doug Mola, Laura Thompson, Bryant Shan, Dennis Champion Walker, Roscoe Jones, George Butters, Joshua Minden, Daniel Maxwell, Taylor Sunderhouse, Adrian Allback, Michael Marr, Zachary Sorensen, and Conversation with Tony Mobley, producer, Tlaloc Miguel Lopez Waterman. Please, when you have a time, please go back and look at the 60 plus episodes of Conversation with Tony Mobley. I want to thank all of you for this opportunity to have this conversation with you. And I hope that something helpful and hopeful was shared in this conversation. Conversation with Tony Mobley can be heard on 98.1fm.com. Our audience in Cincinnati, Ohio, also heard on TuneIn Radio app and the internet. Special thanks to Taylor Sunderhouse and the team behind Conversation with Tony Mobley for making this happen. And coming soon, look for our streams on LinkedIn Live. Coming soon. Again, I want to thank my siblings for this conversation today, for doing the things that you do. Next week, Michael D. Jenkins, the artist known as Triumphant, is coming back to Conversations with Tony Mobley. And we had over 2,000 views of that conversation. You don't want to miss it. Please come and check out Michael D. Jenkins, the artist known as Triumphant. Conversation with Tony Mobley engages with people with real conversations. Please like and subscribe. Thank you all so much for being here with us today. Take care. Good night. See you next week. Bye-bye.